5 Questions with LeRoy Butler. Now, here's Tom Silverstein.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to 5 Questions with LeRoy Butler. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I know the Packers did.
Yeah, I want to thank Janet for helping me distribute some turkeys to some families.
Mm-hmm.
She's amazing, and I appreciate her. And the reason why I love her, because she thinks about people that she doesn't know. She's a giver. And she's actually saving your life by being your spouse. But put that aside. But I want to thank her, and then I want to also thank Pick and Save, Cops for Kids, Feeding America, Eastern Wisconsin, and Charlie Barron's. We do it year round. We don't just do stuff just for Thanksgiving. And we help the veterans and stuff like that. So I was very thankful to be a part of that. So I just put that at the beginning because sometimes they say you edit these tapes and you'll cut out stuff when I ask you to be nice to me.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you know I'm in a good mood because beating the team that's in first place, you can't water this one down. Because the last one against the Chargers, you watered that one down. The defense was bad. Okay, fine.
Right.
And then you kind of just 3-1 out of 4 games. So you should be. So what do you tell me what you think?
Okay, well,
with 17 guys on the hurt list and all that.
It pained me a lot. It pained me immensely. In fact, I was told by someone close to me that they haven't read a story as positive as I wrote after that game, that they didn't recognize it as my writing. And no, I was impressed, and I have to say,
very nice.
They took a big step, and they showed what I think Brian Gutekunst thought they could be at some point. And now maybe we'll see. That was a big step. But we'll see if they're ahead of schedule. You know, I would say if they make the playoffs this year, they were ahead of schedule. If Jordan Love continues to play at a high level like that, then they're ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
You know, they have a very, very favorable schedule where, you know, they can make the playoffs. And I know I wouldn't have said that word. Mm-hmm. You couldn't have paid me $1,000 to say that word, you know, early in the year. But it's kind of an interesting team to watch. Now, what do you think happens from here? Sometimes one win is just a win, you know, doesn't necessarily carry over. What do you think?
Here's a few things that start the Genesis, which is my favorite because it's the first in the Bible and it's my wife's name, right?
Of course.
Here's the genesis of where they were trending. And you're right about one win, it can go either way. Losing is contagious, so is winning. But to me, I look at the big picture as you did. Gutekunst and Murphy, they were on a lot of people's radar because what happened to 12. I get that. He wants to play, he doesn't want to play, now he wants to go to the Jets, okay? A lot of Packer fans were like, oh man, this is going to be back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. Fine, I mean, that's fine. So you have to give Gutekunst a lot of credit, Tom, because think about this. He know at some point, he can't say this, by the way, so I'm paraphrasing. I'm just guessing. I have not spoken to him or anything. I'm thinking if I was putting together a team and that I got to figure out a way for a Hall of Fame quarterback to leave, and the guy I drafted, that I told America, he's the next heir apparent. Mm-hmm. This better work. Fine. They didn't bring any veteran wide receivers.
No.
We're going to play all babies. Okay, fine. Hopefully the babies don't play. If they do play, it's on special teams. Moreover, they're starters. 37, 35, 36. Wait a minute. We got a lot of young guys out there.
88, 85.
Yeah. Those are all Gutekunst staff guys. This Matt LaFleur, don't feel like we're taking bullets away from you. We're adding them, but we got to change our target. You know where it starts? Accepting the kick. When we
Yeah.
get to Detroit,
Yeah.
we normally defer.
Right.
We're going to go. Him and Love had a conversation about the first few plays,
Yes.
reportedly. And he said, no, Coach, that's what I want. That did a lot for Christian Watson's mental health as well, because he was the target.
Yeah, that attitude to me is huge and has to continue. I think of it like in 2010, the Packers went into New England and they were huge underdogs. Rodgers was hurt. Matt Flynn was the starter. They were on the ropes with playoffs, and Mike McCarthy started the game with an onside kick,
Yeah.
and they recovered it.
Yeah.
And like everything changed after that.
Yes.
You know, they almost won that game. They
Yeah.
didn't, but then they finished strong. Of course, went to the Super Bowl.
Right.
But I think sometimes a head coach has to recognize, okay, when do you turn it loose? When do you say, we're going for it? You know, it doesn't necessarily mean going for it on fourth down, but showing some confidence, you know,
Yeah.
in your guys. And I think he did that by taking the ball there.
You remember Holmgren used to yell at Brett or yell at me or yell at Reggie, but he wouldn't yell at the guys who made the mistake.
For me, yeah.
Yeah, you know. Or he would come out there and just start going crazy. And next thing you know, I get it. Because he's like a therapist. I got to get these young guys to say, listen, because Holmgren did it because it was a losing culture, and I got to turn it around. But Matt LaFleur has to do almost like a hard reset, because you're thinking, you know what, I got to figure out a way that he has the lowest paid receiving group of anybody in the NFL. Think about some of these teams like Carolina and some of these other teams, young teams. No, I think Josiah DeGore is the highest paid in that group, because Musgrave and these guys on rookie deals and stuff like that. So my point is this. You got a quarterback he had a lot against him. But for some reason, he turned that wind was in his face and put it to his back. And now you can feel it with the team.
Right.
The coach believes in us.
And they can't.
I love that.
They can't let that go. Like,
Right.
they have to go in. I feel they have to go into that Kansas City game with the same attitude.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, they might not win, but they have to start acting like now they're a serious team. You know, all through this other thing. I think Matt LaFleur he may not admit this, but I think he had serious reins on the offense. Like, okay.
Yeah, he's been admitting that a little bit.
Yeah, and I think now he's starting to turn it loose a little bit.
Can I say one play that really is a turning point?
Absolutely.
That was a bad play, but I think it was a turning point, because I know that mentally, as a player, Tom, you remember the fourth down play after a timeout and 28 and 10 collided, and they didn't get it.
Yeah.
They didn't get it. But I'm going to tell you what message that sent. Our coach believes in us, and it's on me. I messed it up. That one play.
Yeah.
Most people, I know people at home, they didn't do it, they didn't make. But that one play said, you know what? Our head coach believes in us. That's what really, after that play, they got aggressive. 52 takes over. But just that one play, I'll never forget that play.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you looked at this game, what do you think has been the biggest difference offensively? Now, you know, they seem to be gradually improving. You know, they were a little better against Pittsburgh. They were a little better, you know, or actually it started with the Rams. They were a little better against the Rams, a little better against Pittsburgh, a little better against the Chargers. And then, you know, they face a division opponent who they know. And to me, that game was like, okay, just strap it on. You know, the Packers didn't do anything like really exotic. They just kind of went at them and did best on best.
Here's the difference. Aiden Hutchinson went off first time they played.
Yeah.
Max Crosby destroyed the game.
Right.
really, to be honest with you, 52, well, the Chargers had a pretty decent game.
Yeah, he did.
And you've always not protected. I didn't know Aiden Hutchinson played.
Right.
I know 52 played, who played for Michigan. I mean, Rashawn Gary, he took over. But I'm just saying that Campbell rushed 4 guys and just destroyed it. They couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
When you protect Jordan Love, he has the best top 5. I watched every one of his plays. His ball handling is the same on runs and passes.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the strength.
They rank, I believe it's 9th in the league in fewest sacks per pass.
Yeah.
And
I think that was one of your questions.
yeah,
So
that's
yeah.
phenomenal given how badly they started. I mean, they had a 5-sack game, 2 4-sack games in a row.
Right.
And it seems like they've created competition on the offensive line with those 2 spots on
Yes.
left tackle
Yes.
and right guard.
Yes.
And their tight ends are blocking a lot better.
Yes.
So all of a sudden, that's become kind of a strength, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little, I wouldn't say emotionally distraught because one of my favorite players, Musgrave, is not playing. I really like him.
Yeah, that's your guy.
Yeah, it just hurt. He's just such a tough guy, man, because I never would have thought he would have had something internally going on. He's such a tough guy. But he's going to be just a master. But Tucker Craft, I mean, think about that. When they took, actually I drafted him and Jaden Reed, by the way. I don't know if you watched the draft, but when Gutekunst took 2 tight ends, people went ballistic. This is why, though, Tom. This is why. So the offensive line and Sean Ryan, people say, where did he come from?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a bust in most people's minds.
And LaFleur said in the press conference, hey, man, we may change from time to time, but it starts with the offensive line. It really does. Because it puts a lot of pressure on 28, but he's really the only running back, him and Patrick, to really get what you want because Aaron Jones is hurt. And I'm really proud of 28 because it's been a lot on him, and he's been handling. He's been blocking well, too.
Yeah. I studied the blocking on Aiden Hutchinson. I went over every single play, and it was remarkable. Yeah. It was always someone, you know, it was some combination of 2 different guys who were always blocking him, and they just, you know, he still got a quarterback hit and a pressure, but they kept him out of the backfield. And, you know, now this is going to be really interesting facing Kansas City because this is the #1 blitzing team. They're like ranked 3rd in the league. I believe they're #1 in sack percentage. And they're just going to, you know, they bring blitzes, and we'll show this on X and O's. There's 2 plays here that are really interesting.
Well, you know that defensive coordinator very well. He's an old school guy.
And he blitzed the whatever out of Jordan Love 2 years ago and totally shut him down. LaFleur admitted that they didn't prepare for that well, but now this is going to be a really good test for him. Can he take advantage of, you know, blitzes always leave something open, don't they? Although, and this one player showed that they blitzed and they don't leave anything open, you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, what do you expect?
Well, this is what I expect. The best way for a blitz is your center got to be on point. We're going to hard count them to death, quick count them to death. Because when I blitzed, which I thought I was pretty decent at, I hated that. Long counts, quick counts, or just throw it off the rhythm. Because I'm trying to disguise, but they catch me running, they can get you. And they'll slide the line away from Reggie just to get the ball off the receiver to side adjust. And then sometimes, like against Minnesota, they fake like they're coming and come back out. Bet you Spagnuolo do that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because now Jordan Love got to say, well, you know what? Once I say who the mic is, whether you want to do that or not, is he really coming? So your film study tell you when a guy's really coming and when he's just faking.
Yeah.
Just go through your progression. But if you got max protection, I got the tight end in and I got the back end, go through your progression. You got everybody picked up.
That's a great point.
One free guy, you got to get the ball out before he hits you.
I asked this about Tom Clements, the quarterback's coach, yesterday, and I said, with Rodgers, he always knew where to put his protection. Like he'd move the running back over and say, they're coming this side or whatever.
He'd be right, too.
And what Clements said was, with Love, he needs to just, protect this side. And if they're coming from the other side, this side is protected. So don't worry about it.
Right.
Don't worry about this side and just worry about this side. So that's going to be really interesting to see.
And if all fails, run.
Yeah.
Just run.
And on the X's and O's, we'll show the Raiders, they showed how to exploit. If Kansas City brings everybody up, there's nobody in the back to help out. So, I'm really curious to see how they come at Love and the Packers. Kansas City's a good team, even if they're struggling a little bit offensively. They're still good.
Yeah, they're not the Kansas City of the Super Bowl years, but they still have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. I mean, Travis Kelce's a Hall of Famer, and of course, Patrick Mahomes is. But I think this is Patrick Mahomes' first time to Lambeau Field. And I went back and looked at the Denver game. They lost 24-9 or something. The weather wasn't that great.
Yeah.
But Denver was very physical with them. Yeah. And they took away Mahomes' first read, and they doubled Kelce at times. They put a defensive back on him, and then they undercut with a tight end. But the MVSs of the world and the Sky Moores of the world, the gadget guys, they want to get them out of space.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is you play a lot. I'm going to tell you what frustrates quarterbacks. My worst coverage, I hate this coverage, but cover two, they do not like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you basically is saying that it's up to Pachenko, the running back, to win the game for you.
Yeah, because you're going to have to dump the ball off.
You're going to have to dump the ball off. You can't go deep. And you can get into a different kind of ways. So I think cover two and blitzing from the weak side helps. Yeah.
All right, we got to switch over to defense because we've been some of the worst critics of, or harshest critics of defense. I want you to tell me, because I'm not smart enough, why did they do so well defensively? How did they take the Lions out of that game?
Well, it starts with 97. If 97, 93, and 95, if they're all three of those guys are healthy, to rotate that middle to where you can't double or slide the line, 52 got one-on-one, we expect them to get home. I think one of the biggest things with this defense, and they're not doing a lot different, but they're also saying that we're going to take certain things away. And with Detroit, we're going to just take the run away and make Goff have a career day. And that really confused him because they wanted to run the ball. Mm-hmm. And they had some success, but it wasn't like the first time they played. So Joe Barry gave them some different fronts that they recognized, but I think they didn't believe it. Because you can see a front, say, oh, I've seen this on tape. But then, wait a minute now, because if Quay Walker's in and 58's in and 59 is not playing, they do this. But if 59's in and 7 is in, they do that. Okay, fine. We'll just abandon pass and just run the ball.
Yeah.
And Joe Barry confused him. I'm dead serious. It was sometimes Jared Goff was confused.
Yeah.
In their protection. And normally Detroit's protection is pretty decent.
Yeah, yeah.
And before people tell me they had injuries, we're the youngest team in the league, and we had 17 guys on the injury report. Yeah. So I don't want to hear about that. So I think their offensive line just got physically manhandled.
Which is crazy because that offensive line is one of the best in the NFL.
Yes.
I think the most important thing that changed everything as we're talking about this is that they were up 14-0. I mean, that just changes everything.
Yes.
Think about, how they're playing defense from behind every half.
Yes.
It's a whole different animal when you can, when you're ahead, you can blitz, you can sit back in coverage and make them try to, run the ball down the field. I think that was a huge difference.
Well, remember Keith McKenzie? Mm-hmm. Keith McKenzie was a pass rush specialist.
Yeah.
He would come in for Sean Jones.
Third downs, yeah.
Carl Brooks, he wants to go after the quarterback.
Yeah.
94 ain't no joke.
Yeah.
I want to go after this quarterback. And when you're up, you can unleash those young guys up front and
right.
just send them after the quarterback.
And
That's
Gary gets a one-on-one now, and
man.
it's almost,
yeah.
But
him causing 2 fumbles was fantastic. But the way Jonathan Owens has been playing, to me, not only did he lead the team in tackles, and people think that he's a liability in pass coverage, but I would say to those people,
he is a little bit.
But here's the thing about it. It's like a seesaw. You're only bad if you're not good at nothing.
Mm-hmm.
When you're good at something, we concentrate on that.
Right. Well, then,
everybody got weaknesses. Because I wasn't that great at pass coverage. That's why I brought in Eugene Robinson. You get him and Darren Sharper.
That's not true.
There.
You were a cornerback coming out of college. So
I was average.
Let's not even.
I was a 4.65.
You were a 4.4. Shut up. All right. Anyway.
But yeah, I just love the fact that him coming up, playing in the box, really helps this defense.
Yeah. Now
really
here's the other big question.
Yeah.
What do you do with some of these veterans coming back?
Ooh.
Darnell Savage is going to be ready to play this week.
Yes.
Eric Stokes has been designated to return, but they're not going to throw him out at corner. They'll play him on special teams to start. But Devondre Campbell's going to come back at some point. Jair Alexander is going to come back.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that you wouldn't put Jair Alexander back in the lineup, but the way the chemistry between Valentine and the safeties, Rudy Ford will probably come back this week.
Yeah.
How do you handle that? How do you still get something out of, because you're going to start Jair Alexander, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But how do you get the most out of?
You ever heard of house money?
Yeah.
You have house money. You can play the grown men, and I'm not scared to go to the babies. If something happens, if they get hurt, one guy having a bad game, I can put one of the babies out there, let them play.
Yeah.
They've earned that right now. And I don't think the younger guys, 37, 35, 36, I don't think any of these guys have a problem with it because they know what their role is. Now your special teams get better now. Because that's how I see it. You move in the grown men. Now my special teams are a little bit more athletic. And you may only have 2 Pro Bowlers, maybe 1 All-Pro. And that'll be on special team. Of course, 25 is going to be All-Pro. But this group, all they have to do is worry about the chemistry. And that chemistry is they want those players back. They're a better team with those players. Because I don't think it'll send a good message if you... And forget about the money part.
They weren't a better team with those guys.
They've
been
that's
a
fair.
better team since Valentine and Valentine have been the corners. Now, there's circumstances to that, of course. Yeah. But you get my point. You got some guys who have built some chemistry now, and I just wonder if there's any kind of plan or what kind of plan they would use. Do they go to some more dime where they can get Corey Ballantyne on the field with Carrington Valentine and Jair Alexander? Do they, start Anthony Johnson over Rudy Ford and use him in a different way?
See, now you're coming over to my side. That's why I like Joe Barry. Joe Barry has packages for everybody. He has a package for 90 to play. He has a package for everybody. Everybody will be happy at the dinner table. We don't have just one person eating entrees and they eating appetizers. No, everybody eats.
I believe that when I see it.
You'll see guys running on and off quite a bit. Now, if KC doesn't substitute, they won't. But when they'll have different packages, so everybody will get along.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it certainly was an interesting way in which they defended him, and we'll show what they did in passing situations where they just blanketed, and then they relied on Gary, and Preston Smith had a really good game against Penny Sewell, was one of the best tackles in the NFL.
Yes.
Kansas City has Juwan Taylor at right tackle, and he's been playing really well, a kid from Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Gary's probably going to draw that. It'll be interesting to see if they can get 4-man pressure on Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And what he does off of that. You know, I
He's
mean,
so
what's your
smart.
biggest concern? Yeah, with Patrick
Andy
Mahomes?
Reid, to me, is one of the, was with him for 7, 8 years. He's probably one of the smartest coaches I've ever been around. He's a Hall of Famer. To me, he's the best coach in the game. But it's not even close to me because I know Belichick is struggling and he's a great person, but he got some blemishes as far as Spygate stuff or whatever. Andy Reid is a master at protection. That's what he's very good at. Tight ends and protection. So if the time that Mahomes misses a play or did this or something, they always try to fix the protection first. Because if you protect them, they feel they can get deep on anybody. But there have been some games when that protection is broken down. And it's to the weak side and up the middle. So they have to just take some chances, you know, and be aggressive. And I think that's the reason why most of these teams who beaten them or played them really tight, you can look about, they didn't let receivers just run these crossing routes without jamming them, you know, and not getting in their face and things of that nature.
Yeah, because Mahomes, I believe, heard this stat. I didn't have a chance to look it up, but he holds the ball longer than anybody, or has more time than anybody in the NFL, and that's because he can scramble and get out, but he's looking to throw too. So
it seems like he's in the shotgun 100% of the time. So he gets a chance to kind of survey everything and take his time. So they can hold their looks a little bit.
Yeah.
But make no mistake, Andy Reid is looking at this film and looking at the analytics to say this defense is definitely, we can run on them.
Okay.
Because the weather's not going to be that great. So Pashenko and the other young man from LSU, Clyde Sayre, I forgot his name, I'm sorry.
Hilaire.
Yeah. He got his long, like he's a attorney firm. But they're two little guys, but they run efficiently. They're going to run the ball. They're going to see these numbers, say, wait a minute now, the defense has been playing better, but is that true? And they're going to check off to a lot of runs out of the shotgun. And when they don't have a fullback, it's a little bit easier to read those guards pulling.
Yeah.
But if you're behind those guards, those can go for some big plays. Then they try to hit you with the play. Because Travis Kelce will get 14 targets.
Yeah, he's going to get a ton of targets.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Okay, so let's go to your prediction.
Well, the prediction is, you know, this is Mahomes' first time in Lambeau Field. It's going to be cold. I'm picking a huge upset. And the last couple of times I picked against the Packers, they won. Mm-hmm. But I don't believe in superstition stuff because I actually go to church. I don't have to believe in that stuff. So I think the Packers will win 24-17. But I have an asterisk. Anders Carson has to kick the ball well. This will be his first cold game.
Mm-hmm.
He got to be on point.
Yeah.
Because I'm starting to get anxiety every time he lines up. Especially when you see the guy from Philly make it from 59 in the rain.
Yeah, and their operation has to be better, too. I mean, some of the snaps haven't been great.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you something. Chris Jones, man, that guy he's one of the best tackles. He'll get a good push. He'll block it.
Yeah. That could wind up being the game. A missed extra point was the reason they lost in Pittsburgh, or at least a huge reason they lost in Pittsburgh, and they missed another extra point in Detroit. So that can't continue.
I can see it being tied, and they kick off, and 25 gets it about the 8-yard line. He takes it all the way back and score.
Yeah, well, it's his season. Now is his time.
Oh, my. Trust me, that guy's one of the best returners I've seen in a long time. Yeah. So we'll see.
Okay. You got some people you want to thank?
Yeah, of course, if you look, anywhere you download podcasts, download our Leap 36 podcast. That's me and former Packer Gary Ellison. And again, Tarzala. If you're in the Milwaukee, south side of Milwaukee area, that's one of the best breweries. We're actually working on a LeRoy Butler root beer drink. But they have some signature beers that you could, and like them on Facebook too. And again, I want to thank Pick and Save. And anywhere you buy alcohol, always make sure you try to go out and get that Leap vodka.
All right. You'll be getting Bill and I a barrel of that root beer, right?
A barrel? How about a bottle, not a barrel?
A barrel. All right, you heard it right
Stay
here.
tuned for
You heard it. He
X's and O's.
promised. All right, it's on camera.
Allegedly.
All right. Join us for X's and O's. It's a really good one. And we'll see you next week after the Kansas City game.
Yeah. Go Pack.